So you want to take a look at this. Hey guys, welcome back to guys, I invented a new language. Hey guys, welcome back to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at this, which I think is probably one of the coolest things we've ever made, which I say that all the time, but every single time it's true, I swear, okay? This is one of the coolest things that I've made, and I wanted to kind of break it down for you guys today. So let's get started. Obviously, the main part we have, of course, is the text. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna have some lag today because there's a lot of stuff going on in this scene. Mainly the background, the actual ground. So the big three pieces, obviously, is the text, the ground, and then the lava like cracks, which look really cool, by the way. So the first thing I want to talk about is the text, of course. There's a lot more going on here than you probably think that there is. This is animated, so if I hit play on this, you can see we have some depth of field. There's, like I said, there's gonna be some lag. Don't worry about that. It comes in, does a nice little thing like that. Depth of field is just shine that goes across right about now. There you go. Which is really cool, and then it kind of just simmers there a little bit. The depth of field focus changes a little bit. It moves on over to the left and then comes back to the center later on. But the end of the frame is actually supposed to be 245, I believe. So yeah, depth of field comes back. There you go, to the center, right about around there. So very cool stuff. Like I said, very cool stuff. So now what I want to talk about first is the text, like I said. So let's go ahead and drag my my window open here and split this into two. It just looks so cool. Oh my gosh. We're going to make this into the shader editor, of course. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and use the text here and go to object. So the first thing we have is just the basic Principal BSDF shader, obviously, that you can see right here. What you're going to see first is that everything is basically turned off except for sheen tint, which we can turn that off, and then clear color roughness. So the roughness is on 0.36 around that area, which is really cool. And then of course we have the noise texture, which is plugged into the specular, which is a Shift A search noise texture right there. And then you can go ahead and just put the scale on like I put it on like 4.9. The details on 4.6. The roughness is all the way up, and the distortion's on 0.5. We get something like this. So I'm gonna actually hide everything except for that right now. So we have this, like I said, and if I change the distortion, if I change everything, you can see inside there it is changing a little bit. The thing that's gonna change it the most is the scale. But you see, that only changes the specular because it's plugged in specular. So the big boy stuff, the big girl stuff, is over here. So we have the bump texture, two bump textures going into two noise textures, and then we have an add texture. So all of this stuff is, of course, if you're ever looking for anything, just hit Shift A and search whatever you see. The only difference is this won't be add. This will actually be math. So search math for that, and then it'll come up with add, which I've always hated, and I really think they should change, if I'm honest. But yeah, so everything else, just search Shift A and then noise texture, obviously noise, and then Shift A, search bump, and there you go, right there. You'll love to see it. Now, with both of those things out of the way, now we can go ahead and take a look at the values here. So we have both of these noise textures being put into the value of the add or the math shader. This is still set to add because that just kind of combines things. So basically what that does is that we're just taking these two nodes, and we're taking these two nodes and we're combining them together. So think of this as like the equal sign right here, and then this is the actual value if you're doing a math equation. So like 2 plus 2 is 4. This is 2. This is 2. This is like the plus, and then this is the equals 4, essentially. So if you want to just break that down like that. So we have, for the first bump, we have 0.08 and then 5.2 for the distance. Same thing with this other bump. Don't have to worry about that too much. Now the big difference is over here with the noise texture. We have the detail set to 0. You can see what this does. If I change this, it makes it look like this, which is very, very cool. Now I did actually have it like this, I believe. I think I had it like this to begin with, but I didn't like it the way it looked because it was kind of hard to see from far away, especially with the other texture. And this was much darker, especially before I had that in. So it just looked kind of strange. I decided to change it. So what we're doing now is we're going to go ahead and put this back on 0 and this back on 0 as well, and we have that nice little fake looking shine. It's more like a distortion little thing, but it looks like a shine, which looks really, really cool. So you can go ahead and turn it up or turn it down. I had it all the way up like this, which does look very cool, but I really kind of wanted a shiny looking effect, and this isn't really shiny looking. So yeah, that's that. Very, very cool. Now we have the distortion on 3.3, and this is what's going to help us out a lot as well. Get that nice little, I don't even know what to call that, but there you go. It's on 3.3. And then next we have this one down here, which is the distortion. It's set to 0, and the detail. So this one is maxed out to 0 except for the roughness. The roughness doesn't matter though. You can turn that down to 0 as well, I suppose. But yeah, this one as well, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So you can turn those all both down. Nice, cool. Now with both of those done, we have of course the bumps into the scale. This is the same as the bump up there, and then we just plug this into the displacement. Without that, it looks like this. Wait, pause, keep pausing. There you go. Looks like that, which still looks pretty cool if I'm honest with you, but I really like the way that the displacement makes it look with the fake shine look on there, which just looks really cool. Adds to the flavor. Nice. Why did I say flavor like that? I don't know. We're going to just ignore that. All right. We talked about the noise already. Cool. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is the actual text itself. So let's go ahead and grab this text real quick. You can see, if I were to just zoom in here, you can see we have that nice little edge on there. And then the cool edge is in the text. Oh, I can't show you that because I've got rid of it. Is in the text field. So let's go ahead and there you go. Actually, right, never mind. Okay, we still have it. Never mind. I'm actually lying to you right now. So if we go to the text tab here, you can see that we have the extrude set to 0.15. Whew. Excuse me, guys. That was a yawn. It's kind of late at night here. So 0.15 for the extrude right there, which is very nice. And then of course after that we have the we have the resolution set to 1 and the depth set to 0.01, which means we have that nice edge on there, which looks really cool. So that looks fine, but it looks kind of out of place, looks kind of lackluster. So if we put that 0.1 on there, you can see something's gone terribly wrong here. There you go. So if you put that what happened there? If we put the point, oh, that's because I was on offset. Okay, nice. If we put this on 0 and then we put it back up, you can see that it has that nice little edge which reflects light, which looks really cool. So this is kind of like lackluster. It looks kind of out of place. It looks like it's just kind of sitting there. But if we pop that depth on there, ooh, look at that. Kind of nice. Oh my gosh, no way. And then of course the resolution just rounds that off, so that with 0 there's no like detail to it. If we put it all the way up, it gets like a round edge. If we put it to 1, it's like a harder edge, which looks cool. We can put it on 0. We can leave it on 0 if you really want to. I mean, it looks fine. You can also turn it all the way up as well. Actually, turning it up doesn't look that bad. I might actually leave it up actually. So there we go. Put it on 32. And that is that. Now I have the font Anybody Condensed. I think it's black. Yeah, Anybody Condensed Black, which is just a very thick version. Black just means very thick, thicker than bold. So it's just the black version of Anybody Condensed, which is a very nice font family, by the way. So then after that, we have basically nothing else. I didn't do anything else. Of course, horizontal alignment is center. I changed the Y offset, I believe, yep, to negative 0.25. And then the next piece I want to talk about is the actual background here. So let's go ahead and grab that background plane, this guy right here. There you go. Now for the material for this guy, it's nothing crazy. It's literally just, oh, I didn't talk about the most important part. Okay, hold on, wait, let me go back to the text. I apologize. The subsurface. As you can see, there's a little bit of subsurface on this. I did have some subsurface. This is what I did here. So really quickly, what I want to do is I want to soften the text up a little bit. So as you can see, this is like super harsh and like black. The blacks are really black. So I initially had like 0.2 subsurf on there. So like the blacks were more gray like this. As you can see, that's the difference. It's much more lighter, as you can see. Much more light. So I had this like this, but I ultimately decided to get rid of it. But I thought I would add it because I actually kind of want to add it back in because it looks good. So we'll actually leave it instead of having it be solid black like that, because we're losing detail on the bottom here. So I'm gonna put this back on 0.25, and then that looks really cool to me. What I did was I basically just made the subsurface color this gray color, which is 3A, and then I turned all of the subsurf values down in the subsurface radius. Everything set to 0.5, and then it's like I said, this is that gray color, and then of course the value for the subsurf itself is 0.25, and then the base color is black. So that's cool. With the background here, you can see what I've done is the background here. What we've done is we've taken a color which is basically which is black, and then I've put the noise texture into the roughness, just for that little bit of unhook that real quick, just for a little bit of like shine you see on the bumps. There, it's still compiling. There we go. So if I unplug that, you can see it looks kind of weird. We can turn the roughness up, but it doesn't really doesn't, it's missing something. So let's go ahead and put that roughness into the noise texture into the roughness. Sorry, the scale is 4.9. Sorry, the details at 4.6. The roughness is 1 and the distortion is 5. I believe that's the same thing I have for the text. Now if we go ahead and go to the displacement, the displacement is what's doing literally all of the work. Without that, you can see it looks like this, literally just a big gray nothing with some rain puddles on it. That's literally all that it is, which looks really cool, by the way, just by itself. I mean, this could literally be the whole thing, just like this. But I mean, this actually looks really good. But I wanted it to be like, you know, looks like a volcano or something. But if you're doing something that was just supposed to be clean, this is the way to go. This looks perfect, absolutely gorgeous. But with the color plugged into the displacement, you can see we have that nice looking like stone, like black stone kind of like lava background, which looks really, really cool to me. So we have the strength of the bump, which is once again Shift A search bump right there, boom, on 0.108, and then the distance on 5.2, which is very cool. The bump goes into the scale of the noise texture, which of course is a Shift A once again, search noise texture right there, boom, put that right there and then hook it up. So the normal of the bump goes into the scale of the noise texture, and then the color of the noise texture goes into the displacement, which is very cool, super easy. And then we have the detail set to 15, the roughness set to 7.758, sorry, and the distortion is set to 0.5, which is cool. So if you change around these settings, see it does some pretty crazy things, which you can get some really nice looking things from this. But that's basically the whole ordeal there. So you can change some settings around and whatnot, but I think they look the best for what I was doing on the ones that I have them on. Nice. Now, let's grab these and pull them over. The last thing I want to talk about is, well, actually, there's two more things actually, is the lighting. The lighting is a big thing. So if you can see here, if I turn around, you see I have an HDRI, which is the HDRI that Blender comes with, one of the ones that they come with. In the material section, if you go to material viewport shading, and if you go back to the rendered, it looks basically the same, except for one thing is that the text is lit up with one singular light, which is why it's a little brighter in the rendered version. If I hide that lamp like this, you can see it looks wait, I missed. There you go. If I hide that, it looks exactly the same as the material viewport shading, which was a bit of a chore to do. I might make a separate video on this, but just for today, we'll talk about it. So if I go to the world section over here in the node editor, or the shader editor, you can go to the world section, and you can see that what I have here is the background, but I also have this environmental image node, which is very nice. So if I open this up, there you go. If I open this up, you can see we have the studio HDRI, which is literally, if I go to the material viewport shading and then go down to the drop down, you can see this little box here. This is what this HDRI looks like. You can change them all different kinds of ones. This one looks cool as well, but it's not what I wanted. This one looks really cool. This one looks really cool. This reminds me of the tone of the end of Avengers Infinity War. I don't know why, but anyway, you can switch all these different HDRIs. This one looks really cool as well. But yeah, so actually these all look pretty cool, if I'm honest with you. I just really love this scene a lot. This thing looks really cool. But yeah, so obviously that's the one I went with because it looks the coolest for what I was doing. But that picture, this is called Studio, and then it's .exr. And what I did was I just searched a Shift A search environmental texture, boom, and then we went ahead and opened up the image, which is in your Blender folder, of course. So I just hit this little drop down, and you can just select that and then just hook it up. And the only thing that I changed, I don't think I changed anything. I think these were all the same values. I didn't really change anything. I don't believe. So linear and all these textures, you know, all that stuff. And put that into the background, and then of course I changed the strength from 100 to from 1 to 2. You can change it to 5. You can change it whatever. I just thought 1 was a little dark. It looks really cinematic and cool. And I might actually, wait, might actually leave it on 1. Ooh, no, we'll put it back on 2. All right, cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is the shine, because it's very simple to do. So you see this little shine, that's an area lamp. Basically, if I turn my overlays back on, you can see this little guy doing its work. It is just a area lamp that is very small, right on top of the text, and we just move it back and forth like this. and then it does a little shine effect, which is very, very cool. I just literally animated it so that the beginning, the power is off. So it's 0 power over here. Hover your cursor over top of power. Hit I to enter the keyframe. And then I moved ahead a couple frames and then gave it a value of, I think it was 1. Yeah, give it a value of 1. And then hover my cursor over top of this. Hit I on my keyboard and then insert another keyframe. And I just moved it across the surface and then just used I to insert a keyframe of location in different places where I wanted it to go. And then I faded it out the same exact way. So I had it on 1 power, and then over here I put it to 0, as you can see over there. So very cool stuff, very easy to do, super cool. The only other thing I did is I changed the shape from rectangle to square, and then I made the size 1. Yeah, but that's it. That's all that was. So then the last thing I want to talk about is the lava itself, and the lava is literally the last thing that I did. And if you have forgotten already, it is animated. We'll take a look at this real quick so you can see what it looks like if you have forgotten, because it's been a while since we played through it. Let's go ahead and do this. See, the lava is animated. It does look like it flows, which looks really cool. And that is what we got. So the lava, making it flow and move and whatever, yada yada, all that good stuff. So basically how I did that was, let's go ahead and open up the node editor once again. If I go ahead and go grab the lava, you can see what this is actually a vert. You see it says vert up here. The way I made this was, if I hit edit to go into edit mode and turn my overlays on, you can see that, oh well, not anymore because I added it, I applied it. But listen, so this is what I did. I hit Shift A and I searched for a mesh single vert. The way I have this is by going up to edit, going to preferences, and then checking, going to add-ons, and then making sure that you have extra objects. So search for extra objects in add-ons, and then save that, and then come here. You can see that you have single vert, add vert right there, and I just grabbed that. So now we have a singular vertice. If I can zoom out, right here, you see that little orange dot, that's a singular vertice. And what I did with this was I hit tab to go into edit mode, and then I hit E to extrude it. And what this does is, I hit E. I don't know if I can grab it. Hold on, pause. All right, there, grab that vert. Edit mode. There you go. Hit E to extrude it, and you can see that I can just make a little line here, and that is our line of vertices, which is very, very cool. Now, after that, I went ahead and went to the modifiers tab, hit add modifier, went to skin, gave it a skin. Obviously, it's a super small amount of vertices, so it kind of just messed up there. But let's pretend. Actually, wait, let me fix this. It's very small. We zoomed in a lot. I forgot. So let's do that again. Let's grab this one vertice, and then we can go ahead and E to extrude. And you can see now we have what it's supposed to do the first time. That is that's the skin modifier. And basically what this does is it just adds a skin around any vertice that you have. So I use a single vertice so I can easily make little lines like this. And if you need to connect them, hit tab to go back in edit mode. Select 2 vertices by clicking and dragging over top of one. Hold down shift, grab the other one, hit F to create a face in between them, and now they're connected. That's how I made these little pieces that connect in the middle here and other places where they connect, like here, whatever. There you go. So that's nice. And then after that, what I did was I went to add a modifier, subdivision surface, subdivided it, hit smooth object, shade smooth, and then made sure that shade smooth was checked here as well. Actually, yeah, instead. And the way I made it skinnier was I went and hit tab to go back into edit mode. Turn on wireframe so I could see what the heck was going on. Hit A, double tap A to select all of the vertices inside of the little shape that we created here. Hit Control A, and then now you can scale them. A lot of people might think it's the S key to scale because that's obviously what you always use, but no, in this case it is Control A, which is very strange. So hold down Control and hit A on your keyboard, and you can scale it up and down. Left click to confirm that. Obviously, now if you want to add some sections in here, make sure you go ahead and hold down Shift and select 2 vertices, right click it, and then go to subdivide, and then grab this little piece in the middle, hit G to move it around. There you go, make it a little bit more roundish. Very cool, but you can do that all day. And then the way that I made it flat was, of course, you guessed it, just hit SZ, sorry. But you see the origins down here. But yeah, you should just hit SZ, and then I hit 0, and then it flattened it like that, which looks very cool. and then it just made like that. But of course I did it from the top down view, so I hit 7 on my keyboard, and then I moved the vertices around so it was easier. So I hit E to extrude, and then you just make these little pathways like this, which is cool. Hold down shift, grab that one, hit F, make a little connection, and that's literally how I made the lava trails. Now for the material, which is the last thing we need to do, we need to go ahead and what was I doing? Oh, we need to make the material. So go to world, from world to object, and then this is the material. Very, very simple. It's much more difficult. Looks more difficult than it is because it's animated and whatnot, but I love doing animated materials for you guys because it's just cool. I love the way they look, and I like coming up with them too. I think I come up with some pretty cool animated materials. So for this specific one, we have a regular emission shader, which is hooked up into the surface of the material output, of course. Then I hit Shift A and I searched for a color ramp. There we go. Boom. Look at that bad boy. Put that in there. Now I have 3 colors here. I have yellow, I have orange, and I have black. And I had this on linear. We hooked that up into the emission, which is on 5.7, by the way. Very cool stuff. I might put this on 6, maybe higher. Nah, it was fine the way it was. It's too bright now. All right, so 5.7. Or was it 6? No, it's 5.7. 5.7, and then I have a noise into that. We've done the noise already. Shift A, search, noise, just in case you forgot. Boom, like being consistent. And then we have that set to 44.9, 2.5, and 1.1 for the distortion. We have mapping node, which is the one that is animated. So Shift A, search. You get this idea by now, but mapping, just in case you don't, boom, put that right there. Hook it up into the vector of the noise texture, which the noise texture went into the factor of the color ramp, by the way. And then the last node that we have here in the lineup is the texture coordinate node. So hit Shift A and search for a texture coordinate. Boom, there you go. Hook the generated, not the normal of the UV, the generated up into the vector of the mapping node, and then now we animate the X value of the lava. So the cool thing is that if you go ahead and go to the first frame, you put this location on 0 for the X value, and then go all the way to the last frame, boom, which is 250. Actually, wait, no, is 245 in this. Sorry. We can go ahead and put this on 0.1 and then hover our cursor over top of this and hit I to insert the keyframe. I didn't mention that. Do that again in the beginning of the one here as well. So hover your cursor over top of X, hit I to insert the keyframe. And then now it will play through going from 0 to 1. As you can see, if you look at this value right here, it changes from 0 and it goes all the way up to 1. Until it's done, and then it stops to 0.1, sorry. But yeah, very, very cool stuff. That's literally the material. That's how you do it. That is everything. I don't think I forgot anything. Yeah, that's literally it. Very, very cool stuff. And yeah, I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed this one. This was a very, very cool, this is a pretty long video actually for the channel, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. This is a nice breakdown. I'm going to call this an uncut. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sign off. Here we have the bloom, which is very, very cool. We have the bloom modifier, which is, these are the values here. So 0.816, 0.5, 6.5, and 0.038, which is cool. We have we have screen space reflections turned on, which makes this look much cooler. Obviously you can see the reflection of the lava, and it just makes it a little bit darker because it's reflecting off of itself, which is very, very cool. Just an overall cinematic thing. We have motion blur turned on, which we don't really see too much because there's not too many fast moving things, but just nice to have. We have ambient occlusion, which gives this a much better looking feel for the text. As you can see, it actually makes it dark the way that it would be in between the letters, instead of looking abnormally bright, which it would not look like. And then for film, I have, actually wait, not for film, for color management, I have this set to standard instead of filmic because the orange looked weird to me, so I decided to put it to standard, so it looks like that instead. So the orange looks much more like I wanted it instead of like kind of dead orange. This looks like a dead orange, you know, but if I have on standard, bright orange, popping orange, lovely orange, lava orange, you know what I mean? You love to see it. Nice. So that's basically literally it. I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, I have the render on 1 to 8 as well, so that's something as well. But yeah, hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new today out of all the things we did. I know you 100% learned something new because I did a lot of really weird things in this one. I'm going to be honest with you. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one, but until then, bye-bye.